Hello, my name is Grant Fritchey. I work for Redgate Software. Today, let's talk about the query store. One of my favorite topics. I love it. I might love it a little too much. But anyway, when I present on SQL query performance tuning tools, for example, I'll spend a lot of time on query store. I also have a query store presentation. It comes up in conversation. I get questions on how Query Store works, and I love those questions because they let me investigate and figure things out more. So it's one of my favorite things. So one of the questions came up was, what happens with estimated plans when there's a forced plan? Let's go find out. Right, so let's start off really simple. What we've got here is a store procedure. Create or alter procedure, product transaction history by reference, and it's just querying against two tables, passing in that reference ID. Let's do this. Let's remove the procedure cache first. We'll talk about why a little later. And then let's take a look at the estimated plans. Now, for an estimated plan, we do not need to execute the query. All we need to do is just capture the plan immediately. So if we take a look at that first parameter value, we get a plan that looks like this. It's nested loops, a couple of seeks, and a key lookup operator. We're not going to get into whether or not there's tuning opportunities here. There very well could be. And then if we take a look at this one, let's take a look at its estimated plan. And it has a very different estimated plan. It's got the merge join, pulling from a scan, sort operations, all kinds of stuff going on here. Again, tuning opportunities, probably. But the key point here is that each of these plans was pulled, was generated when we asked it to be. And if we take a look at the properties, I'd like to point out just one bit, and that's right over here. Retrieved from cache is false. That means that that query execution plan was not pulled from cache. It was generated. So, if we take a look at the queries and plans that we have in Query Store, let's go ahead and take a look. Now the results come back. Now this particular query, this one query for this one object, has got 4 different execution plans. Now it has to do with the fact that there's a fairly wide data distribution here, and we can get different execution plans due to parameter sniffing. I'm not going to get into whether or not this is bad parameter sniffing or whatever's going on. What we're instead going to do is we're going to force the execution plan. I'm going to pick one. I've got the query here defined, and I've got the parameter value defined. Let's execute that, and there we go. Now, if I was to recapture these plans doing it the exact same way, even though the plan is now forced, there's the plan that we expect to see for the first query. Here's the plan I expect to see for the second query. Pretty much as written. Now, let's turn on actual execution plan, and then let's run this query, this particular one for this query, and see what plan we get. So we're going to execute the query. That's going to bring us back an execution plan, and notice the execution plan that's brought back is the other plan, is not the plan that we were used to seeing with the merge join and all the rest of that stuff. Now let's take a look at the properties, and you'll notice it says use plan. We forced this plan. So instead of the plan it thought it was going to get, this is the plan we got instead. Okay, fair enough. What if we just want to take a look at the estimated plan? Let's do that. Now the execution plan we get back, dun dun dun, it is the forced plan now. It is not the plan that we had before. Let's take a look at the properties, and we'll point out something really important. So you can see use plan true, retrieve from cache true. So in short, when there's a plan available in cache, the optimizer chooses not to compile an estimated plan, but instead it pulls that plan out of cache. And so when we have a plan forcing situation and that plan is in cache, we're not going to see possible or potential other estimated plans, even though that's specifically what we go after. Now, I don't think this is like any kind of a showstopper, oh my God, something's on fire, but it is an interesting answer to the question, what happens when there's forced plans with estimated plans? All right, so the rules are simple. If there's nothing in cash, obviously the optimizer goes through and optimizes any plan that it needs for an estimated plan. But if there's already plan in cash, it's going to use that. And if it's a forced plan, you will see differences in the plan. That's pretty interesting stuff. That's it. Please subscribe if you like this kind of material. I really need a subscription, so if you can just click on that little link, that'd be great. And my name is Fritchey. I work for Redgate Software.